Anyway, first off, this here is the first Disney tour guide pin from about 1960, made of vermeil, which is gold-plated sterling silver, 14 karat gold. And on the top row, these are the first and second generation of the Disneyland tour guide pins, made by a company called N.S. Meyer of New York. And down through the here on the end, you have Disneyland's guest relations pin, which was introduced in 2001 when the Disney California Adventure opened. And down here on the second row, this is the Disneyland Ambassador pin. This version was made from, I think the first one was in '64, through about just a few years ago when they made a new one. And second here, the crop, you can see there, the tour guides wore that on their costume, on the lace cravat they wear, kind of a collar thing. And right there, you can see it, that's the little model of Sleeping Beauty Castle that they wear up on their hat. And here, you've got a Disneyland host pin, which is worn by the male cast members who give the tours, and men couldn't be a tour guide at Disneyland until 1978 or 79, I believe it was. And here you have the Walt Disney World hostess pin, and in the middle here the very first Walt Disney World tour guide pin from 1971, which is also made of vermeil, again, which is sterling silver coated in 14 karat gold, and a Walt Disney World host pin as well. And down here on the next row, the current Walt Disney World Guest Relations pin. And moving on, the Walt Disney World and also Tokyo Disneyland Ambassador pin. And this one was in use from the mid-'80s up until just a few years ago when they made the new version. Next here, this is from 1959, from the opening of the Disneyland submarine voyage. And there in the middle represents the nuclear submarine, the Nautilus. And on the left and right are two dolphins. Those are not the mammal, these are the fish known as mahi-mahi. And here, from Club 33 at Disneyland, it's the pin worn by the maitre d' and head waitstaff. And down here, we've got some original Disneyland metal name badges from the 1950s. This one here was an incomplete version, one that came from the company that made them for Disneyland, the Los Angeles Stamp and Stationery Company. And this one here belonged to a man named Jim Warwick. He was the head of Disneyland's maintenance management department. And here another one this is one of the more common varieties, the numbered ones. This one belonged to a gentleman named Tim Hahn, who was the head of Disneyland security. He went with Walt and Roy when they scoped out the land in Florida for the Florida project. And down here, these are some pins that were given to the Golden Ears Club. Those are cast members that have retired from the Walt Disney Company. And down here in the bottom, a random selection of some Disney service pins, the 5-year, 10-year, 15-year. Here in the middle are the original Disneyland 1-year and 5-year service pins. In the middle, the Walt Disney World versions of the 1-year service pin, both versions of that. And then a silver Dream pin, which is from Epcot and Walt Disney World in the early 80s, mid-90s. Stands for Disney Resort Experiences Are Magic. And last, a Walt Disney World 10-year service pin from about 1980. So there you have it, just a brief tour of what a real Disney collection looks like. So there you go.